Hello, hi everyone. This is Lokesh Baba from the Soul Freedom Show, Quantum Shifting School, and Radical Purpose Coaching. And we have two very special, amazing guests today for you guys. Special treat, Gosia from Cosmic Agency and Jake or Jacob from Astral Irma. So welcome, guys.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Hey,
Oh,
Gosia,
yeah.
how's it going? And
Hello.
yeah, we're all in
Hi.
different countries. Which country, Gosia, you're in now?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for your invitation. Hello, Jake, and hey, hello to everybody who's watching. I'm in Finland.
Finland, and Jake is in US in the East Coast, and I'm right now in Thailand. So we've covered the whole planet right now. So, all right. So we are live now, and yeah, we have a few people online. So whoever wants to post a question in the live chat, they can do as well. And there's a slight delay. So when people post the questions, there'll be some delay before I read it. But we're gonna take the questions like after maybe an hour or so. And yeah, and then we just start with the introduction. Like many people who are listening might most probably know you guys, but I'll let you guys introduce yourself. Gosia, you can start first.
Okay. I am Gosia, and I'm originally Polish. I left Poland at around 22 when I left to the USA first. And well, I was always a spiritual seeker, so to speak, metaphysical seeker. I was always interested to find. I was always on a mission to find my mission, as I felt was since I was very young. There's some kind of a mission out there for me in the world awaiting. So I had to leave, and I lived in the United States for a while. Then I studied comparative religion in Australia. And well, then life took me to Costa Rica, and then back to Europe when I lived in Spain for 9 years. And finally here in Finland. And that's just, why am I mentioning all this actually? Because yeah, it's more to do with my traveling, but it's also to do with my spiritual pursuits and metaphysical pursuits, because throughout all these travels, I was always interested to expand my knowledge about the extraterrestrial topics, about spiritual topics. And what I always wanted, always was to know who are these extraterrestrial people and why are they around and what they have to say. I've never been a kind of person who is just following the lights in the sky. I was never interested in that, in the UFOs themselves. I always wanted to know like what's going on, who is operating those vehicles, and what they have to say. I wanted to know what they have to say. Well, my dream came true in 2017, as it seems, as myself and Robert and myself, who is my Spanish co-partner in this project that we have been doing. Well, we have been introduced magically, so to speak. I can also go through this, but people already know from our community. We were introduced to the group of extraterrestrial people who were at the time in the orbit of the Earth, very close to the Earth, and they had at the time what is called the first contact program or something like that, from what I remember. And that means in 2008, from 2008 and 2017, they entered massively social media in order to communicate with the people on Earth, to talk to them directly, presenting themselves who they are just through social media, because it had to be done legally through the Federation. It was a Federation approved project. By the way, as I always say, they are not the only race who has done this. There are other races still actively involved with the social media on the internet, and not only mingling with people. I talk about this too a lot in my interviews. But in 2017, we crossed paths. So we started chatting with them online. It was not an email, it was not a WhatsApp, it was just a software program where we could chat. And we chatted about so many different things initially, just personally. And then what happened was that Robert and I, which we already had the YouTube channels, we thought, okay, this is so great. The information that they are sharing, this needs to be known. Like, I don't want to keep this just to myself. It made no sense to me just to involve with them and not share. Like, the people will need to know. They have the right to know more about what's going on and who these extraterrestrial people are. I was so excited to share this. So they agreed, and we started sharing those chats. Since then, 2018, in English and Spanish on my channel, Cosmic Agency, you can actually see the result of all that almost 8-year interaction. I'm sharing the videos as based on our conversations, also based on some of their longer essays that they wrote. And it's word for word. And that's why this communication is so appealing and so different, because it's not channeled. It's not coming through some kind of a mental transmission, which can be a bit tricky. It's difficult to receive such exact information as we have been receiving, because the topics that I share here on Cosmic Agency are very technically detailed, very scientific. Many of them I don't understand myself. I don't know, Jake, if you understand absolutely every single video. I don't. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's very technical sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for that introduction, Gosia. I'll let Jake also introduce himself, if you don't mind, Gosia.
Are you finished, Gosia? It's okay.
I could go on and on, so you just go ahead and step in. Yes, take over.
Well, let's see. My journey started when I was very young. I had a lot of out-of-body experiences and astral travels, and I ate up every single book that I could get my hands on. I had a lot of encounters with all sorts of beings from other densities and other realities. I am a walk-in soul. I am so grateful for the information that the team has put out, because it truly, taking it and applying it to my life has completely changed my life. And that's what I really am so excited to see people doing, is really taking this information and applying it to their lives. But personally, I'm a walking soul. I got here about 5 years ago during the whole COVID thing. And, taking the information and applying it to my life and remembering who I am and where I came from, has been just really, really powerful. It's been just an amazing experience thus far.
Great. Yeah. So I'll let you talk a little bit about the races that you guys connect with, because a lot of people who are watching might not know what Taygeta is, what Erra is. So I'll let Gosia, you go ahead. You can unmute yourself and talk about what is Taygeta, what are Pleiadians, and all that, the race stuff that people may not know about.
Yes, because what I didn't mention is, who are these extraterrestrial people that I have been connecting with? Well, they are, like you say, from the Taygeta star system in the Pleiades. So they are Pleiadians, but we don't like to use this term too much. They never really regard themselves. I mean, they do, because Taygeta is within the Pleiades. But it's just because the term is so generic and so overused in the way that they want to be more specific. It's like saying Italian instead of European. So they are from the Taygeta Starseeds system. They are so-called Nordic race. So they are basically white, light hair, light eyes, some brown hair as well. They are like us. So they look like us. They are Lyrian template. So they are a humanoid template. And they have been around Earth and involved with Earth for a very long time. And now Jake will talk about Urma and Urma race, a cat race. They are very friends with Taygetans. They are actually super, super friends. They work together, they cooperate. And many times even the souls, when they incarnate, they jump from being an Urma to also being a Taygetan, because this phenomenon, walking and even reincarnating in other races, this also happens outside Earth. It's not that you are just incarnating into the human being in Urma, but you can incarnate into the Taygetan Pleiadian being in Urma. So you are an Urma starseed within the Taygetan society and back and forth. And there are other races that are closely matched to this soul group, so to speak. So yeah, Jake, you, the Urma.
Yeah, so the Irma, you know, we've lived in balance and peace with the Lyrians on, you know, the planet of right around the star system Vega, on the planets of what, Avalon and Lyra, right, in the constellation of Lyra. You know, before the war came. Now, Gosia, I wanted to ask you: is Lyra still and Avalon still in existence?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I
Or
don't
do you
know.
think
I
it
know so much.
got destroyed in the war? Don't know. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, and the Irma are the most feline, the most dominant feline race in this galaxy. Very fierce, but also very highly spiritual and ethical. They're masters of the astral, and that's where I get a lot of my. I love being part of the Irma because of the astral abilities that I get. It just comes very natural. It's very easy. But yes, I also am Taygetan. I incarnate as Taygetan and Irma just constantly. Those are my two favorite races to do this with. And I have multiple pods and multiple bodies throughout the quadrant of the galaxy. So it's quite complex.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry, when you said you walked in 5 years ago, can you tell us a little bit more about that walking experience, and how did you know exactly that it was Urma? Like, how did you remember?
Yeah, that's what
I
I was
envy you
gonna...
because I don't have memories myself. Sorry, Lokesh.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a great story. So I was standing up when it happened, and I was just standing there in front of the television, and I was actually watching John Lear talk about some things. And all of a sudden, I got this huge jolt, and literally it dropped me to my knees. It was just like information and electrical overload. And I was just on my knees, just shaking. I didn't know what had happened. And like within a couple of weeks, I found you, I found Cosmic Agency. I started watching that stuff and I was like, oh. And then, you know, as far as being an Irma and knowing that I was an Irma, first it started as a hunch. And then I started to have dreams that I was in a cat body, like walking around, and I had these cool, like, crystal hieroglyphics on my arms and wearing different types of, you know, clothing. One thing that I do remember about being an Irma is that we love style. There's a lot of robes and a lot of different stylish things, you know. What's that?
Fashion, like fashion
Yes,
stuff?
yes, big into fashion, which is kind of the opposite. I'm not a big fashion person now. There's a lot of things that are completely opposite. Like I'm tall with long arms and long legs, where in my Irma body, I have short legs and short arms, you know. There's a lot of like contrasting and, you know, like things that I am as an Irma are not the things that I am as Jake. It's really interesting. I don't remember all of them right now,
So
but that was
you
just
actually, like, when you talk about that body, because you're saying you have a different body in Irma, so is that you can clearly see it when you go to astral, or how does it work? Like,
so as far as like my Irma body, I don't believe it's my original body. I believe that I actually incarnated. See, I have a very traumatic history, and
you mean or in the Irma world?
Yeah, in space. I have an extremely traumatic history. I got separated from my parents when I was 7 years old, and got separated from my sister, and I was Taygetan at that.
Here, are you talking about here?
No, this is in space as a Taygetan.
Oh, so you remember the whole lifetime of that one?
I remember the traumatic parts,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, and I got separated, and I basically came into this timeline where I had to incarnate into an Irma in order to put a buffer between my consciousness and what I had just experienced, the traumatic experiences that I just had, because it's a long story, but I had to put a buffer in. So I was Taygeta, and then I incarnated into Irma, and now I'm here as an Irma. It's pretty complicated.
And was it like in an instant? I think we talked about it before, but was it like I think you said it took you like a few years to download the whole information, right?
As far as from walking in to knowing like where I was, like I knew that, let's see, I had some telepathic communication with my family outside of Earth. That was, you know, another confirmation of where I came from and all that stuff. But yeah, it took me, it really just took a few months of down, you know, of from the initial walking in. It just took a few months to realize who I was and why I was here and all of that stuff. And then, you know, obviously, you know, I've been very open about Sophia coming to me in the astral, and how that changed my life and got me onto the path that I'm on now.
Yeah. I'm curious to know, you know, like what Daryl Anka does with Bashar, you know, like he can within like a few seconds, he can connect with that entity. So is it like that with you if you want to connect with that self, or is it a different process?
I mean, if I want to connect with my, you know, 7-year-old Taygetan self, it's pretty traumatic, you know.
I mean, not the traumatic one, but the regular, the one that
my Irma self, I actually had to cut off, like I was getting so many downloads and so much information. It started to interfere with my earthly experience. So I actually started blocking them because it was just too much. It was like, oh well, you know, that's who I am, but that's not who I am right this second. So, you know, it really started to interfere with everything. So
you can also tell us a little bit about Sophia before we get deeper, like, because that's another part of the whole puzzle piece that we're talking about. Maybe you can introduce Sophia, and then Gosia can also introduce Swaruu and, you know, other Murray and other people.
I think Gosia should probably go first.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I want to just comment a few things on what you said. First of all, this is a very good example. You were talking about the traumatic experiences out there in space. And it's something that I want to clarify here, because many people actually imagine that a life outside Earth is so simple and it's so idyllic and so beautiful. And so each time we shared stories from space involving their lives, many times very dramatic, many dramas, situations, well, people would call it like soap opera, you know, and they would like ridicule that, as if they would go against their expectation of how they imagine the life outside Earth is. And no, their life can be very dramatic. Life outside Earth is not as New Age portrays it. Okay, so this is a very important point that you brought it up, because it confirms that, you know, this is how life in space is. They are people, they have stories, they have traumas, they have dramas, they have life. These are not soap operas, these are just life stories, and we all have them. Like Jake is talking about his. We all have those space stories. So that's very important. And another point, you mentioned how you went to the Urma life as a buffer. That's super interesting too, because yeah, I do believe that's how many races actually do this. And this even involves incarnating as a human. You come here as a sort of forget, as a reset yourself in many levels, because remembering all these dramas can be sometimes very, very, very difficult for the soul to transcend. So it's helpful sometimes to come to the place, like even to be a human. Like I believe that for myself. Like I do believe that I'm here. I mean, many people complain, but for me, it's like being sort of on vacation. Meaning, I know life is difficult on Earth, but I feel that my life out there has been even more difficult. Like I feel this on an intuitive level. And not remembering that helps me to heal some of that because I'm able to rest. I'm able to somehow reset, connect to other perceptions through my avatar of Gosia now that is more innocent and not charged with these heavy emotions. They are still there. It's not like you can completely remove yourself from that. They are there somewhere defining you from the subconscious level even, but still it's a sort of a reset, some sort of a healing process that you can apply. And it helps many races. Many races use Earth to come in here to incarnate as a human for that, to heal some of their traumas. Right, Jake? What would you say about
Yeah,
that?
I mean, you know, this is just another buffer being here as human. You know, it's really easier to peel it back in layers and to take your time with it. I did a lot of work with Rich West and how he brought me back into the experience, so I had to relive it. But yeah, no, it's so true. Everything that you said is so true. So it is kind of like a vacation, but that underlying trauma is still there and needs to be, you know, looked at in stages or in, you know, over time to be healed.
Yeah, and I do believe that, you know, yeah, it has to be addressed at some point, looked at, but in
Right.
a way, it gives some refreshing some time, some pause, you know, like it just, you know, it's like a resting moment where you can recharge a little bit, because in order to look at all these different traumas, you still need to be able to recharge somewhere in between. So that's why I feel that my life right now here on Earth, that's kind of what it serves. I'm just sort of recharging, but I am actually, I'll be honest, I am ready to regain my memories and look back at all these different life stories from the past, but not like you. I don't have access for some reason consciously. But it's okay. I'm totally okay with that. Now, going back to the location question then. Sophia that Jake is talking about, that's actually Sophia Yaski Swaruu. She's one of the people that was present there on Toleka, on a starship Toleka, and she was one of our contacts. We came in contact with her in late 2019. Officially, I think it was released in 2020, somewhere there in the middle. And yeah, she's a little girl, a 9-year-old, more or less. However, that's very fluid because the, you know, matters relate to age, especially referring to Yaski. That's very sketchy there. And she is super powerful. She's super metaphysical. I just made a YouTube channel on my Cosmic Agency playlist with all the videos with her information and with her message, and that's 144. I know, interesting number that came up. 144 videos in that playlist where she is present, and that's who Jake is referring to, that she had astral experiences with her, because she is very active and powerful and very skilled in astral work. So that's who Sophia is. If you want to, Jake, add to that.
Yeah, I mean, in my, you know, the astral is very personal experience. It's very subjective, but in my experience, we played games constantly. There was, I mean, hide and seek in the astral was one of her favorite games and my favorite games. And it just came about, you know, it just happened. She would pull me out of body and we would be in this place, in this huge, what I called the mountaintop chalet. It was like this, it was like this huge playhouse that exists in between densities somewhere. You can't really pinpoint it, but basically she would hide and I would try to find her. And she would constantly be shifting, you know, her frequency and disappearing and changing into this avatar or that one. And she would just be constantly like testing me and training me. as we played. So I would have to learn how to raise my consciousness and raise my frequency and keep track of her and where she was going and what she was doing. Yeah, go ahead.
Now that you mentioned this about playing, about hide and seek, I had a dream once a few years ago, and I'm really sure that it was Yaski. She was doing the same. I saw a girl who was about that age, and she was running away from me, but like running away in a cheeky way, like that, like running away and looking around, see if I'm behind, and I'm like running after her, and she's running again, and I'm chasing her, and it's some kind of a game. And for me, I don't know, it was a dream, but it was a very realistic dream. So, you know, dreams, astral stuff, that's very fluid there, you don't know. But yeah, it's very much like Yaski.
Yeah. And so I was fully lucid. I was even more lucid than your normal lucid dreams during these interactions, during these experiences. I really don't even call them dreams anymore. I just call them experiences because they're just so real. They were just so real.
Yeah, sometimes even this life seems like a dream sometimes, right? Like if you come from that world, this world is a dream, right?
Especially if you're interfacing, you know, especially if you're in immersion. It really, there is this, for me personally, there is this like, the world is just kind of fake. It just feels fake. It doesn't feel as real.
Yeah, like a virtual reality. What they're talking about, I mean, we're going to talk about AI later, but this whole virtual reality thing, I think that's where it's going, as in like, you know, like people are going to live in those virtual reality worlds, and it looks like we're already living in a virtual reality world, which they call the simulation or matrix or hologram, right? So also, Gosia, I also want you to introduce the other people like Swaruu and Murray before we get deeper into this topic.
Sure. So in 2017, we were introduced to Swaruu of Erra. She was our main contact for a few years until 2020. She was at that time on board of the starship Taygeta, and she was also participating in this first contact program, talking to people online before we met us. She met us. I have to say, Robert and I always have to stress this, we were not the only ones. And we were just, you know, we were actually the ending phase of that contact where they were contacting hundreds of people and they were spending hours and hours with them online chatting.
But can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
So why didn't those other people come out with that information? Was it why?
Many do.
They do?
There are many people who have started coming out with the information, and most of them, though, they remained anonymous. This is surprising for me too, that many people just do not share because, you know,
Maybe they're scared.
There are different, they're scared,
Maybe
they're
they're scared
embarrassed.
because of this whole, there's stories where whistleblowers get killed and all these things, right? Maybe is it something to do with that?
I think it's more to do because we don't have specific proof, and that's for this, and that's
Oh,
by
like
the
people are gonna
design.
like doubt them, like start asking.
Yeah, no, I mean, we are not going to be killed or anything like that, I think, because we're not on that level where we are actually providing that kind of a proof. And that's by design, specifically to protect us and the contactees, to make it kind of crazy story. And that is for protection, you know, for protection of this whole project and us. So I don't think they were afraid of being killed. They were just afraid of being embarrassed. I myself, for example, for 6 months, I was in a different relationship. I was with a Spanish man at that time. And I hid it from him for 6 months. I was chatting with him,
Really?
with Swaruu. I did not say it to him because I was embarrassed. What do I say? Oh, I'm talking to the extraterrestrial person.
We're
So
living
imagine,
life.
yeah, imagine talking about this live to people out there, and they're sacrificing their image, because basically, we are done for life here. Our image, our names, our faces, it's all done, you know, in that sense. They have jobs, they have bosses, they have careers. Sorry, they don't want to sacrifice that. You know, they want to be crazy, seen as crazy. So, but for me and Robert, it was so obvious that we had to share this, and we didn't question this. It was like so it was like, we have to share this. The humanity needs to know this. And for a very long time, it was my dream to do something to help awaken people from the matrix. So it was an obvious path for me, obvious decision. And I didn't care how we're going to be treated and how we're going to be perceived. I didn't have any career to look after.
Why do you think they chose? I mean, you think they chose you, or you just randomly connected with them?
Yeah, I think it goes all the way back to the pre-Gosia avatar agreements, because as they told me, I am a Taygetan Pleiadian in immersion as well. And they even gave me my name. I even saw myself in the photo. They showed me the photo of myself. So I was actually part of that crew, even though at that time the crew was very big. There were many, many ships, thousands of Taygetans in the orbit. I didn't know every one of them. But for example, I didn't know Aneka, Jake, you know, Aneka, who they told me that I knew Swaruu probably before I got immersed, because my immersion began in 2017, exactly at the time when we started this project. We met them, so it was like pre-planned. Okay, but now on a Gosia level, because that I'm talking about the higher level, on a total human level, no, they didn't choose me. I felt like it was just our decision and my choice and Robert's to share this. They never came and say, Gosia, you'll be the one who's going to share the information.
You're going to save the world. You'll be the one who save the world.
No. It was very casual. We talked to them like talking to a friend. They're just people. They talk to many, many, many people. And out of those many, many, many people, we happened just to believe this so much and trust this enough.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's the most important thing, is like you trusted it so much that you wanted to share it with people, right?
But why did I trust this? That again goes back to that pre-agreement. I just knew it in my core that this is what I'm supposed to do.
So do you think it has anything to do with the past life, or is it like a different?
I think it's a parallel life, so to speak. When like Jake, he's talking about being in immersion.
Yeah.
The immersion is when you go into the capsule on the ship and you are rerouting your consciousness to the avatar on Earth. So it's depends how you look at it. It's not really a past life.
The past and parallel, I think they're the same depending on which dimension we are looking at.
Yeah, I am right now immersed from the Taygetan pod. Yeah. So my body is there right now. It's not like it's a past life experience. Yeah. It's there right now, even though the time maybe doesn't match 100%. But
you don't actually experience it as clearly as Jake does, right? That's the only difference. Okay.
No, I was only told the story. I don't have any memories except for maybe few here and there. Yes, Jake?
Yeah, I agree with you 100% that this is all kind of pre-organized. I mean, I felt it too. Like I feel like this deep connection with the information, like, you know, and after Sophia coming to me in the astral and all of those interactions, I was completely 100% more convinced than anybody that this was for real. And this is where my mission lies. It lies in getting this information out there, you know, and helping people wake up to the fact that they are these multidimensional beings that have abilities and that can have the experiences that they want to have. They don't have to be stuck in their trauma loops.
Yeah, so if people want to do that, you know, like people, if they want to connect with their different versions of the whatever you want to call, like higher self, parallel self, soul, you know, bodies or different incarnations, like what I know, Jake, you teach lucid dreaming, but let me go with Gosia first. Okay, if somebody wants to do, I mean, for you, Gosia, I think it's a different process, but in any case, like, do you recommend what can people do? Let's say they feel connected, that, you know, they have different parallel incarnations and they want more downloads. Like, is there any process you follow, Gosia? And then we go with Jake.
I'll be totally honest and vulnerable here and admit that I do not do enough in order to connect with my higher self in that sense, because I've been so immersed in doing those videos and spending time with them and being their friend, and have that friendship with them, and spend so much time online making videos and editing in both languages, Spanish and English, that I kind of I don't spend enough time, for example, in meditation, where I think, a lot of these experiences and connection happen. So definitely I would recommend that, just, meditation, spending time with yourself, with your own thoughts, and with your own, not even thoughts, go beyond thoughts, go to the
You
zone
don't recommend
beyond
any
thoughts.
drugs? You
No,
don't
I do not necessarily,
No, I'm just
because we
kidding.
have been
Yeah.
told by the Taygetan team to avoid those substances.
Like
because
ayahuasca and all those things.
I did it myself, but that was before the contact itself. I did it many years ago in Australia, and that's a long story in itself. But they told us to avoid that because it kind of catapults you into the realms. Yeah, it might do that, but it catapults you into the realms where you may not be equipped to handle
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
there.
It's like a hit or miss kind of a thing. Either you connect with angels or with demons, and it's it's your choice. Like at that point, there's nobody can, because I've done ayahuasca too, like DMT, mushroom, all that stuff. That's the danger with that, is like once you're in that state, there's nobody can really help. You're on your own unless you're trained enough, by shamans and all these people. And even if like you're sitting with the shaman, he or she can also help you to some extent. Beyond that, it's our own power of the mind, right? So it's, yeah, I would say that too. Like it's kind of risky in that sense unless people are trained. All right, yeah, thanks, Kosha. And Jake, I will also let you talk about the process you follow for the lucid dreaming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I understand realities and experiencing realities and shifting realities as that. It's a shift of perception.
Yeah.
And Yazi and Carlos Castaneda, they both talk about this point of perception, this point of attention that you are, this point of attention within the soup of.
Assemblage point, is that the assemblage point, or?
Carlos Castaneda talks about this assemblage point where this, if your aura is a fragment of source itself, that means that everything that exists is inside of your bubble. Okay. Right. All of those filaments of light and frequency and awareness are inside of your aura.
So it's like
and
a fractal.
You are a point of attention within that.
So is that
you're like a microcosm. You're like a microcosm of the macrocosm of it. Okay. So if you just think about this, and this is how I'm going to explain lucid dreaming, is it's literally in children are naturally, they see imaginary friends, imaginary people, imaginary realms. That's because their assemblage point, their perception is not fixed. It's not fixed because they haven't had the societal programmings that the rest of us have had. So in order to lucid dream, in order to shift your perception into these other realities, you really need to become like a child, which is really interesting that that's how Yazi chooses to keep her form, because she's a master at this. And so, it's really about shifting your perception and using your imagination, because your imagination, as Yazi or Swaruu said, I think it was Yazi, that using your imagination connects you to memories. It's not that you're imagining something because you're making it up. It's imagining it because it's a frequency match with your memory. So that's one trick to remembering your 5D lives or your parallel lives or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I actually remember we were talking to one of the men, Kila. Kila is one of the Taygetan men, and that was many years ago. And I talked to him about this, about memories. And I was saying that I don't have any memories. And that's exactly what he told me. He said, use your imagination. Imagine your life on a ship. And that's going to trigger and pull specific memories, because the reason why you are imagining that specific experience and not the other is because there is some kind of a match for you to project into your mind that specific imagination. It's for a reason, and it's going to pull more of that. So that, I remember that's what he told me: use your imagination to trigger your memories.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful, simple concept too, and it really works, you know. But as far as lucid dreaming, there has to be a kind of a breakdown in your programming, you know, of your societal and your quote unquote 3D programming. You know, there has to be that assemblage point, that perception has to become unstuck. It has to become unfixed, and it has to start to move and to flutter.
Are you talking about what they call the matrix, like as in like get out of the matrix way of thinking, which is like 3D, linear time, money, and all those concepts?
Right. You know, the society makes you think that you need to perceive everything in a certain manner. Okay.
Yeah, the systems, what we call the system, like the money system and all these systems.
Yeah, all of it is part of it. But basically, it wants to make you think that this reality is the only reality, that physical reality is the only reality. That's the programming. That's the programming. That's why when, you know, Yazi and others say that it's all astral, is they're shifting our perception of that and letting us know that it's not, you know, it's the opposite of what we've been taught. It's not all physical.
So
the physical world is not all that exists.
So everything is astral, and what we are living now in this 3D world is part of that astral, but it's only one part of that astral.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and those will be infinite? You think like there's infinite words like this one, or there's a fixed number?
Everything is infinite. There's no fixed number in anything. As many ideas and as many ideas as you have, that's how many realities there are.
So
it's infinite.
Let's
say,
say,
limited by your own.
Yeah. So it's like more like, let's say I want to have a superpower. I want to fly. So that as soon as I imagine, I've already created that new word for me where I'm flying. So that might happen in the future, or might have happened in the past. You know, I might have been a bird before, or maybe I'm a bird, right? So that's what you're talking about, the ideas, right? Those ideas and imagination.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Gosia, you have anything to say about that?
I had a question about something that Jake said about the point of attention moving. How do you make your point of attention, your signal, shift and move? How is your process exactly?
It's through silence. It's through just becoming aware without any thoughts. It's just a focus on silence, and it's really about allowing, you know, if you do hear thoughts or you do hear voices, it's about allowing them to just kind of flow through, flow in and flow out. And so as you're falling asleep, you become aware, you just become an awareness. And you may have a thought here or a thought there, but mostly, you know, there's sensations. And you just become comfortable with these sensations. And there could be sensations of falling. There could be sensations of really loud noises, popping noises. There could be, you know, a sensation of dying, of being so afraid that you're dying. And it's just a matter of being so comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's when your perception shifts. And when it locates another position, that's when it starts to become fixed. Your perception starts to become fixed. That's when you start to perceive other realms, and not just other realms that are, you know, moving and changing and all this, but very consistent realms. you know, where you can look at an object in your dream, you can look away, you can look back, and it's the same object. That's
Right. But I have a question. When you were letting go of your point of attention here and releasing yourself to move, to shift, do you do this with the intention of where you want to go? Or you just like open, or wherever I will shift, I will be fine with that. It's going to be a surprise. Or you like intentionally direct your shift of attention somewhere else?
Both, depending on whether I have a mission that night or not.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, Sophia, she told me very, very clearly the first mission was to get to the pyramids of Giza. That was somehow a nodal toggle switch. So I was very serious about getting there. And so I would hold an image in my mind as I was falling asleep of being near the pyramids. Well, I couldn't spawn right close to the pyramids because of all the low frequency going on around it. I had to spawn in a higher frequency area in a green field north of the pyramids. And if you understand about being in these lucid dream and astral realms, is that, you know, manifestation abilities are much easier in higher density or in higher frequency areas. In lower frequency areas, it's much harder to manifest things. Like there can be such a low density area that you can't even get up off the ground to fly, you know? So yeah, it's both, Gosia. When I'm on a mission, I definitely tune into where I want to go. When I'm just kind of free flowing with it, I'll end up wherever I end up. And then I can go from there. If I end up, you know, on some planet that I don't know or someplace I don't know, and I want to go to a specific location, I can just squint my eyes and hold the image of where I want to go, and the whole place, I'll just teleport.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to mention that because Yaski, on our channel, we have a video, How Do I Teleport? Where Yaski is explaining, Yaski is the same as Sophia, okay? Lokesh is the same, it's just a nickname, Yaski. Okay. She is talking about how she bilocates, how she teleports. And I remember it was one of the things that she mentioned is that I don't know if I don't remember if it was requirement or it was helpful to know the location before you get there. So you know the object, you know your address, so to speak, and you can picture all these objects, all these different things. So first, somehow you need to know, or maybe remote view it somehow, see what it's like. And then you can like literally, but I'm talking Lokesh about real bilocation with the body. That's how she does that. She bilocates with, it takes her whole form and she can transform. Yeah, and she talks about this in that video.
And does she exist in this world, or you're talking about in that world she bilocates from?
No, in this world is if you consider, you know, the orbit of the Earth is part of this world. We are talking about the physical.
Oh, I see. That version of her that is come to this world bilocates to the other world.
No,
it's
I'm
all
talking
one
about physical. Physical places, bilocating from this place to that place.
Okay, understand. So is that okay? Let me switch the topic a little bit because dimensions, you know, a lot of people talk about dimensions. What we're talking about words, some people call them densities or dimensions. So what are your views? Maybe Gosia, you can say it first, like from the information that you have received. Are they like all these 5D, 6D? Do you think it's just a way to understand things, or is it real?
Yeah, it is a way of understanding things. It is the way that humans, you know, have. This is a system of thought that humans have here on Earth to categorize, you know, something that is really so out of our reach metaphysically. So I can only speak for them. How they have explained this to us is that no, there isn't specific description of densities as something separate one from another. It's not like there is a separate world, 3D world, and then you have a 5D world that is totally separate, like by some kind of a barrier or the wall.
Like countries, like what we have countries here, it's not like
yeah,
that.
no, exactly. No, it's not like that. As you are crossing, it's more to do with your mental state and mental vibration, which in a way might feel to you, the one who is experiencing it, as if you are crossing something because you are expanding and you are moving and shifting to another frequency.
It's like,
But there
is
is
it
no
similar
barrier.
to like when we sleep, we go into a dream world. So it's similar to that concept, right?
Yeah, again, this is Jake's expertise. I am not the expertise on dream world and astral experiences. I dream every night, and they are very, very deep dreams. But I don't kind of control that, and I don't have lucid dreams very often. How do you describe that, Jake?
It is, you know, the team put it so well and clearly that it is a soup of frequencies, and they are in constant flux. I could be in one area of the astral in a high frequency area, and all of a sudden a low frequency storm will just brew all around me. And all of a sudden I'll have my lucidity knocked out and I'll be fighting to stay coherent. And, you know, it's, there are no separation of realms. The more and more you're into this lucid dreaming and astral travel stuff, you realize that there is no separation between realms. It's all a mix, and it's just your perception. It's just your point of attention and the way that you perceive these frequencies. That's all it is.
But then
Yes.
it's really confused. I mean, at least for me, it's confusing in the sense that it's similar to the concept of dreaming. When we sleep at night and I get a dream, when I wake up, I'm like, it's very random because I don't know the meaning. Like somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like the dreams are, I mean, I'm sure some people do dream interpretation and all this stuff. But what I'm trying to say is like, doesn't it get very confusing to pass through so many layers or realms or dimensions and then come back and then try to figure out what is this information about?
Yeah, don't ask me because I'm confused about that myself. My dreams are so intense. They're like adventures every single night, and they're so realistic. I'm like really there. Many of them less realistic. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know. I mean, there are different theories. We have videos on dreams. Even Mari has videos on dreams. So you can look that up. But yeah, I know what you mean. It does seem kind of random. My dreams are just all over the place, full of stories and adventures that I have no idea how my mind could have created that. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it's really exciting because this is what it comes down to. We're all here to manipulate energy to have the experiences that we want to have, and that has to do with the frequency ranges perception that we can operate inside of or operate from. Okay, so this is where the really exciting stuff comes down to. Why am I here on Earth? What is my purpose? Well, your purpose is to have the experiences that you want to have, and you can do that, and it's easier to do it in higher densities if you can shift your point of attention there. Because things manifest in higher densities, and you can manifest things. You can do stuff. You can practice, you know? And I know it may sound harsh coming from me because it's easy for me. But
Yeah,
and I realize how difficult
yeah.
and how hard it is for other people. But if you think about it, we're a collective. And if we're collectively moving and
affecting the other people around you. Is that what you mean by that?
Yeah, we're a collective. And if we're collectively moving in a place where, you know, these 5G towers in the lunar matrix are becoming obsolete, because there are some of us that it is becoming obsolete. Yeah. We understand that it is just a mental,
yeah, even I've heard even the chemtrail stuff is getting more like positive chemtrails now than negative. Like as in the way we think about things is actually affecting our atmosphere and the environment, right?
My spiel is this, is that we have a collective, our consciousness is all the same consciousness.
Yeah.
We share consciousness. We are a collective community. Okay. Yeah. If we can all get on the same page that and have these belief systems that, you know, lucid dreaming is a lot easier, astral travel is a lot easier than we believe it is. Because that's the first thing that I work with when I work with people, is I work on their limiting belief system as to what they think it is about.
Yeah,
what
it comes back to trust.
do.
Yeah, we were talking about trust earlier. I think it comes back to trust, right? The more you trust that, then the more easier it gets, right?
Yeah, you know, I mean, if we have a bunch of starseeds that are just scattered with a bunch of different belief systems, then that's what we're going to be experiencing. We're going to be experiencing that kind of scattered whatever. But if we can all get together and agree,
yeah,
on certain things, then we can create a new reality and move forward, you know?
Yeah, go ahead, Gosia. You were going to say something.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Okay.
I don't think it was anything that important.
So, all right. So now remote viewing is one way to do it. So, and I was also going to ask something when I forgot what I was gonna, but let's read if people have any questions. So right now, what's Gosia, are you like posting, are you getting new information, or are you creating videos based on the old information that you have?
No, right now we don't have any new information because we haven't talked to them since last year. And the last communication was around November last year. I'm not considering the messages from the CIC that came all the way to January. Those don't count. I'm talking about the Athena Swaruu and Yaski Sophia Swaruu that we talked to last October. And my videos right now are based on information. One second. One second. I lose you here. Where are you? No, you're not here. Where are you? One second. I forgot. I don't know where you are.
Zoom. We're on Zoom.
Yes, for some reason I don't see you. Okay, I'm gonna fix this when Jake is talking. I'm just talking to the screen for now. Yeah, I have just now. I'm sharing the videos that I still have accumulated because, as I always say, there was so much gathered throughout the years that I wasn't able to share right away. It just kept piling up, and there's so much to share. Of course, I don't have to share any of this. I never did. You know, it was something voluntary. So it is all self-imposed. It is a self-imposed pressure that I have put on myself. But you know, I'm not the only one. All of us in this team, we felt that throughout the years, this self-imposed pressure to keep working and keep doing this. So I'll continue to share what I have. I also opened a new channel, Space Academy Sector Earth, where actually, and this is for the newcomers who are confused about all these different topics we are talking about, I'm actually going through all these different concepts from the beginning. From the very, very beginning. And it's a real like academy, and it has classes. I went through 8 classes so far. And it's a very fun format because it's like I'm sitting on a spaceship. I have a guy, his name is Alec, who is also having fun designing these studios, helping me with that. And we have this spaceship studio environment where I'm sharing all these different concepts in an organized way from the beginning, but all based on the knowledge from the Taygetans and from the Swaruus, mainly from the Swaruu line. So go to Space Academy Sector Earth for that. Okay, Jake, I'm going to continue figuring this out.
Okay, yeah. Jake, for you, the information, like, is it on a constant basis, or do you like voluntarily whenever you go to the astral world and you need some information, or is it like, how does it work for you?
I mean, honestly, it's a mix of me pulling up old information off Cosmic Agency and, you know, meditating on it. And I'm trying to understand it the way that I do, and then putting that out there. And some stuff I just say verbatim, you know. And it's a mix of my astral adventures. Anytime that I have an astral adventure, a lot of times I'm waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, completely tired, going, "Oh my gosh, I was just on this trip, blah 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 blah. This happened, that happened." So it's a mix. It's a mix of all sorts of different stuff.
Yeah, something about 3 o'clock. I think there's a lot of other people also talk about it, but I've also experienced it. I wake up around 3:30, or I cannot sleep till 3:30, and then I get into this state of meditation automatically. So you think there's some significance, like between 3 and 5 a.m. is what they talk about?
I mean, there could be, you know, the most important times to lucid dream are after you've had rest, you know, after you've had 4 to 6 hours of sleep, and in those early morning hours, you know, right around dusk and dawn, the matrix seems to be a little less strong, you know, a little weaker.
Yeah.
You know, and the eclipse this past, what was it, last summer or the summer before, the eclipse was super cool. That was like being in the, for me personally, from my own point of view, that was like being in the astral when the eclipse was happening.
This September you're talking about?
It was, I think it
March.
was
Around March.
Oh, March.
The last one, I think. Oh no, maybe you're talking.
I think last summer was the one that I'm talking.
Okay.
Summer. You mean last year summer, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I have a few questions here that I want to answer from the chat. Someone says, why not ask the other Taygetans if the current Swaruu official channel has been hijacked or not? We cannot ask because we don't have a communication with anybody right now. That's the whole point, that we believe that the whole communication has been intervened. So there's no one to ask. Now, and the question from Ulker Kose about the timelines, I just want to say a few comments about this. It says, time confuses me. If we match the reality that matches our frequency, what can we possibly fix in the world? Or is there anything happening to fix it? Or are we just fixing our own timeline? We have very detailed videos on that, and go to the playlist in Cosmic Agency channel about time and timelines and time travel, where it is actually explained how the timelines work from the Swaruunean perspective. And it's explained there that actually, where we are working on something to fix, you are basically just addressing your own timeline, because you are the one generating the whole reality from your perception or from your point of attention of the timeline. So you can not really change much in other people's timelines. It's just your own. And that's why time travel has these dilemmas, because when you are traveling back in time, which timeline are you actually fixing or changing or looking at? And it has been addressed in our videos that you are basically looking at your own. But then Yaski, Sophia added to that, because she's more expanded, and she actually explained that actually it is possible to alter the collective timelines in a, and I don't know now remember how she explained that, but basically you have to kind of become, you are this larger self, you are becoming that collective, you are taking it into yourself, you are becoming aware of being that collective, and then shifting the timeline, but from the perception of you being that collective, because individually we are more than just individuals, we are the collective beings. So you are able to shift your perception to that collective being level that you are, well, then you are then influencing the individual timelines of everybody involved in that collective. I'm not sure if I explained myself correctly. Maybe Jake, you can add to that, but this is something what Yaski said.
Yeah, no, you did explain it perfectly. I think I remember her saying that at first she didn't know how to, you know, affect the collective, but then she figured out a way. And, you know, I thought that she said something about making small changes in certain people's timelines made a big difference. Like little small changes here and there made big differences. I know that she's personally done that in mine, where she has, you know, made these small little changes and it's affected in put me on a totally different trajectory.
Yes, but really, yes, all this is discussed in detail, very metaphysically explained in those playlists, time travel, timelines. And also, just to say, you don't have to go to the videos. You can go to our website, swaruu.org. And I'm going to type it in the chat room, and you can read the transcript, so you can read it, because it's just so much information. So if you are interested in timelines, go there. I'm going to type it now.
Okay. I was going to ask about the AI stuff, right? Then the black goo, I think that because there's different perspectives. I mean, I know it's a big rabbit hole, but if you're done with that topic, are we finished to answer? You have finished answering?
Can I answer one question Phil
Yeah.
had a while ago? He says, Jake, you're talking about OBEs when you were young, but you say you walked in 5 years ago. So those experiences were had by your avatar's previous soul, question mark. Can you please explain that? Yeah, I mean, the previous soul is me in some sense, because I am a collective. So yes, we share memories, we share frequency. So in a sense, it's me, and in a sense, it's not me. It's all basically point of view and the way that you look at it. That previous soul did have other abilities that I, had other abilities and was really good at astral projection. And I am more leaning towards lucid dreaming, which they're both the same sides of the, different sides of the same crystal. But yeah, in order to answer your question, it can be a little confusing, because the previous soul in this avatar is part of my soul group, so it's also part of me, all depending on where I'm recognizing where my soul begins and where my soul ends. I don't know if that answers the question, but all right, we can go on to your AI subject if you want.
Yeah, before that, I just want to ask one thing, like, what if people know about all this information from Taygetans and Irma, what can people expect, as in a positive way? What, like, it's information, but once you know this information, what is the outcome, as in, like, what can people get out of it?
They can get to experience the experience that they came here, to have, to reclaim their sovereignty, to step into their free will choices, to really bring that excitement and that wonder back into their lives if they don't have that already. That's the way that I see everything. I see everything as perception and reclaiming your sovereignty, reclaiming your free will, not having all of these imposed things from the outside world being imposed on you, that you have to see things. We're constantly being told we have to see things in a particular way.
Yeah.
We have to see things in duality. We have to see things as dark and light, and angels and demons, and and I think the real power is in transcending that.
Okay. And Gosia, for you, what do you think people can get out of learning about this stuff?
Well, just expansion of their reality, expansion of the perception of their reality, and, like Jake said, bringing that wonder into their reality, understanding that the reality is so much greater and so much more mysterious and so much more incredible than what we are led to believe, and it just expands you more and more. And for me, I remember when I was just long before this, a contact experience, I was watching some movies, and where, for example, I'm just giving an example, where a guy is going to work and no one recognizes him. And it's like no one can remember him, and he doesn't understand what world he is in, right? And I remember I used to say this to my friends or whoever. I used to say, I would love something like this to happen to me, like something bizarre and weird and something so out of ordinary. And with the Taygetans and Swaruuneans, I have been able to learn that all these amazing and extraordinary experiences, time travel, time perception changes, variants of yourself, it's all possible and it's all real and it's happening. So we are not living in just this, A to B boring paradigm and reality. We just be born and we die and we go to work. But the reality is really so fascinating, and how it warps and changes, and you can meet other versions of yourself and souls looping all over the place. It's just an amazing cosmic adventure. So that's what people get from this, learning about this cosmic adventure that they are on.
Yeah. The reason I was asking is because for me, sometimes, like the information sometimes gets too overwhelming, and like especially now with YouTube and AI and stuff, like there's so much content out there, right? Like we really have to filter it out and focus our attention on things and content which really matters. So that's what I'm always looking for.
Just follow your excitement. Just follow what
Yeah,
really
like
excites
Bashar
you.
says, yeah.
What your energy calls you to do and to learn about. You don't have to learn about all these different things. For example, I don't know and I don't understand so much about some of the topics even that I was sharing in my own videos, some technical stuff about engines and turbines. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
It doesn't really really inspire me. Actually, now after 7 years, more and more now. But in the beginning, it wasn't my excitement. So my excitement takes me more toward the metaphysical subjects, all these weird facts of reality.
Yeah.
And so just don't overwhelm yourself. You don't have to. Just really just take whatever you feel a match to at the moment that brings you that inspiration and makes you feel alive. And that's how,
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah, similar to going back to the concept of dreams, I think it's a similar concept, because I might be getting 10 dreams tonight, but they are not all relevant, I can pick one or two that I can learn from and just go with that. So similar concept here is like if there's like a million YouTube videos, I can pick like 5.
Yeah, exactly. And trusting that what you choose is exactly where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do and what you're supposed to
Trusting,
learn
yeah.
about. So again,
Yeah, I
we go
think,
back to that trust again.
yeah, trust is the theme of this
Yeah,
show.
theme show, yeah.
Like you have to
Yes.
trust. And also, I think trust also goes with the what we call the negative things in life, right? Because some people think, oh, why is this happening to me? Or we all go through this, right? Like the dark night of the soul, where like, oh, I'm feeling like shit today. But that's also part of the process, trusting that also, right? Like I'm sure even in the astral world, Jake, for you, when you go fighting with all these demons or whatever, like you're not thinking, oh, this is the best day of my life. Like you're probably going through shit, as well.
Oh man, it's a lot of fun. Whether you're, just meditating and raising your frequency out of the situation, or whether you're fighting because that's all you can do is react at that moment. It's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a story. It's an adventure. You know, it's just fun. It's just fun.
Yeah, so what they talk about, the spiritual war between light and dark, right? So it's like what you're doing, what you call the astral warrior side of you, is like making sure, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, making sure that the light is, the dark is not taking over the light. Is that your main purpose?
Okay. So in the astral, there are places of power. Okay. There are specific nodes. There are high grounds, so to speak. And if a specific, lower frequency entity has a position on a high ground, that means that whole area can become a low density. So what we do is we go to these places of power, these nodes, take the pyramids of Giza, for example. We'll go there and we'll maintain our frequency there. We'll maintain a high frequency there and set up bases. We'll literally set up a base inside of, inside of the pyramids there to operate from, an FOB. And we have those all over Earth.
And that doesn't really mean that you have to do anything. You mean like the presence you're talking about, right?
Correct. It doesn't exactly mean you have to do anything, but you're just, people gather together. People will naturally come to these areas if there's a lot going on there. There's a lot of different people with a lot of different ideas. Because in all reality, it is the idea realm. It is the realm of the ideas. Things are constantly changing and fluxing, and they're changing depending on who is the dominant frequency there. Yeah. What is the dominant frequency in one specific area? So
when you go to these realms, do you also meet, let's say you have a friend on this planet, and when you go to the astral, you meet how many people in this world that you've met in that astral world?
I'd say less than a dozen.
Okay.
Because a lot of people just don't even use the same avatars. I don't even use the same avatars when I'm there.
Yeah, so you may not even know them. You might be meeting them, but you may not even know that they're same.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're bound to pop into your same avatar as your body is. It's just not always there. So you learn to recognize people by frequency.
Okay.
And then there's a lot of imposters. There are just a ton of imposters. They could be your families. They could be your friends. They could be yourself.
Jesus Christ or Buddha or Jesus. Because even those angels or what they call the ascended masters, they can also be falsified, right? As in like pretend.
Yeah, to me, they're just gatekeepers, and they just need to move out of the way.
Okay. Jake, very important, I think, for the people. How would you identify the imposter from your experience?
Yeah.
The imposters are always doing something nefarious or tricky. But how
would you know that? How would you know that? If the trick is to trick you, how would you know you were being tricked?
Okay, so you have to, in order to recognize if somebody is tricking you or not, you have to look into their eyes. Their eyes are basically the window to their soul. So if you look at their eyes and you look deep into their eyes, you can see that, so many times, I've seen somebody that I thought was a friend, and they do that to get close to you. They put up a facade, and I look and I pierce into the eyes, and then I can see the sunken in gray behind it, or a reptilian behind it, behind the projection. You can also look at the lips. The lips, if they're chapped, that means that entity has bad intentions. Yeah. So
like
looking at the facial features.
Like talking about technology, do you think in the future, I think Dan Winter's already talking, there's a lot of people who are talking about these technologies that can make you more lucid, but do you think in the future there can be a machine where I just plug in and I can go to the astral world, like very easy stuff, right?
Yeah, the elites possess that technology, and we learned that through Cosmic Agency. They're the ones that told us. The team is the one that told us that the elites already possess that technology.
Is it like a goggle kind of a thing, or what does it look like?
I think it's probably a full immersion type machine. What do you think, Gosia?
Yeah, we do have videos on astral soldiers and astral military where it's explained where the Cabal has this technology, and they actually go there and they send those astral executives and military and soldiers.
Oh yeah, what they call super soldiers, right? Those people.
No,
yeah,
I think it's a different thing.
I've encountered them countless times in the astral. They've put tracking devices on. Oh yeah, they put tracking devices on me, abducted me, astrally abducted me, brought me to underground military bases. It's happened so many times.
How do you get out?
I know how to protect myself now.
Okay.
What's that?
How did you get out?
Well, you have to get out. Literally, the idea that they have you trapped is what's trapping you.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
it's you into thinking that you're trapped, right?
Yes. So you have to get out of the idea that you're trapped. You have to believe that you're not trapped, and you can
Because we
escape
can
that.
never be trapped. I think like we just have to know that we can never be trapped, because if we come from the source and we are the source itself, so we can never be trapped.
That's right, and that's how they trap people in this dimension, in this so-called physical world, and also in the astral. The same trick is to trap your perception.
Yeah, into thinking that we are in a box, right? Like what we call the matrix, that you can only do things in a certain way, right? And then once you know that it's not true, then nothing can trap, right?
That's right. And actually, the biggest trapping mechanism, the deception, is designed naturally by our physical body, so to speak. Our physical body imposes on us these certain perceptions.
Yeah, that's what I feel sometimes, that the body itself, because the way we have to eat and go to the bathroom and like do all these different things, like I'm sure there's a lot of extraterrestrials out there like who don't have to use the bathroom. Sometimes I'm like, why do I have to?
I know. Oh my God, welcome to the club. I feel exactly the same about so many different physical things. But like, for example, having to walk using my legs instead of just like shifting myself to somewhere, like why do I have to like depend on walking? And talking, for example, it's a huge one for me. It's a very strange phenomenon. Having to talk,
Even eating, sometimes even eating seems like, why do I?
Yeah, of course. Eating, swallowing, all whole digestive system, like depending on some kind of substance to sustain my existence. Like,
sounds
what
like
is
fake, like it's like I'm like a machine. I have to keep.
yeah, I have exactly the same thoughts. I have same sensations. The whole reproduction system actually feels very strange to me too. I'll be honest, I'm a woman, but I don't have children and I don't want to have children. And one of the reasons is because this just seems so strange to me. I know it's natural, but it's just, I feel like my soul has subconscious memory of existing on some other level where it's just energy existence or some kind of a different type of existence. I don't know, maybe I was Arcturian where their reproduction system is totally different. It just seems so strange to me. So, but the body, going back to my point, imposes on us these perceptions, limitations, like not being able to walk through wall. The fact that we are perceiving the wall. Why is there the wall there that I'm supposedly not able to cross? So Yaski, Sophia, is in her videos, in her messages, is like trying to break us free from all these limitations that even the body naturally imposes on us to have this experience. That's the idea.
Because they talk about the soul trap, but they don't talk about the body trap. There should be a book called Body Trap, because a lot of people talk about soul trap, that, we go to the moon and the Saturn rings and all this stuff. They talk about soul trap, right? But Jake, do you have anything to add about that?
No, but I think it's a great conversation. I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, the body. I'll probably write a book about it, but
it's designed this way on purpose, in a way, by our etheric template somewhere there within the source.
And even the chakra system, the whole like 7 layers of chakras. Like I think there's this guy George Cavakasilis. He talks about how even the chakra system and the Kundalini is also like a trap. It's not like natural for us to be having these different layers of,
I'll go first, Jake, just very fast with just a few sentences. The Taygetans and Swaruuneans never talk much about the chakras. There are energy centers, and Earth also has energy centers and ley lines and all that. But it's not a system that is like, keeping us in some kind of a categorized way. And the Taygetans never talk about this much. I don't think they have this system in their society. Okay, go, Jake.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I mean, these chakra systems and the Kundalini and all of this stuff, they're just ideas. And I think that they're very limiting. Because
because if it infinite,
I always look out for things that are separating. Separating this and separating that and trying to understand this compartmentalizing that compartment. It's like,
I think the biggest one, I think also one of the biggest ones is the masculine, feminine, like man versus women. and the whole dynamics of the relationships that we form, the way like women and men think differently, feel differently, that also feels like a restriction in some areas, right?
Yeah. However, Taygetan society is very polarized in that sense. So they do have very strict, very defined genders. They do have genders. They have the female and male. And there's like no need in their society to be crossing that and mixing and so I haven't heard them talk about, for example, the divine femininity in men or things like that. It's another concept. Every society, because I'm only speaking through the Taygetan concepts, will have their own concepts and philosophies, cosmologies. So if you talk to other races, for sure they're going to give you some different angles to how to perceive life.
Yeah, the androgynous, some races have androgynous beings where the masculine and feminine come together, right?
Exactly. And the Taygetans are very, very oriented, men and females, and not only Taygetans, other races as well. But there are other races, for example, Arcturians, who do not have as genders. They do not have reproduction like us. So it's a totally different way of perceiving reality for them. And again, sometimes I think about this. If we have Arcturian starseeds incarnating, well, maybe they are bringing with them these ideas.
I feel connected to Arcturians sometimes, and I also feel that sometimes that I have almost, not completely, but kind of brought that masculine and feminine inside me. I can almost sense it, feel it. And I also have seen other Arcturians talk about it. And I think there's two, we always have multiple races we connect with. I think the Pleiadians and the Arcturians are the two that I connect with the most. Yeah.
Okay.
Jake, do you have anything to add, or do you want to pick up any other questions from the chat?
I don't see many questions. I see more comments.
Yeah, because
somebody's asking, hello, Jake. I'd like to know if you're working with Alabar Jones and his group. No, I'm not working with Alabar Jones and his group, although I have talked with him a few times, and we're going to be doing a podcast together here in a few days with Dan Winter. So that should be interesting.
Okay. So the Black Goo stuff, like a lot of people are talking about, Dan Winter also talks about it. So what are your opinions? Is that because there's always two sides to the story, right? There's the positive AI, there's negative AI, and what I know is negative AI is what the Black Goo is from what is it called? Tiamat, right? Tiamat. So it exploded, and then that thing came over here, and that's kind of the parasitical energy. That's what kind of traps us. And then there's the positive AI, which is what we're talking about, all these races, Taygeta and Arcturians, that bring healing to our planet, either through technology or through med beds or all these technologies that, Dan Winter talks about. So what are your opinions? Maybe Gosia, you can go first. Like, what is your opinion about positive AI versus negative AI?
Wow.
I know it's a big topic, so.
Yeah, a very, 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 very huge topic. And we have, again, a detailed playlist on that on our channel, because I'll be totally honest, I lose a lot of information. I don't retain some of the information because I just go so fast from one video to another. I don't have much time to really study and remember all the previous information. But yeah, the Taygetans shared a lot about the AI in the past. It was actually one of the first things that they warned us about to share with the people, that the AI was was a threat to the humanity. But of course, we are talking about the invasive, negative, transhumanist agendas and all that kind of AI. Yeah, we have videos on Black Go. That's actually Swaruu of Erra. In the very beginning, 7 years ago, she made detailed essays about the story of Black Go and how, yes, it's blood of the planet, and it was in Taygeta, and then when the Taygeta exploded, it traveled among other places to Earth, and it impregnated the Earth with its qualities. It's very programmable, and the Cabal uses that I know I don't remember much, I'm sorry, but the Cabal uses that much to program some of their soldiers.
Yeah, what they call the nanoparticles or nanobots.
Yeah, they program those people to strip them from
and the
their
vaccine,
connection.
what I know is the vaccines are part of that.
Yes, and here we go into the topic of graphene in the
mRNA.
Yes. So it is a very dangerous substance, and it's being very much in use by the Cabal, by the controllers, to remove emotions and remove spiritual connection from the people. And it's definitely connected to the negative AI. But I'm very sorry, I haven't prepared for this specific topic, so I don't have details. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with me, but actually I do not have a retention capacity.
Yeah, I feel
lot of
that
this
too. Like
information.
the memory, we're talking about memory. I feel that too sometimes. Like sometimes I forget even 5 minutes back I did
Yes.
something. I'm like, did I really do it?
But it's so annoying to me. You don't understand. I have a role to play. I have a role to fulfill. And many times in these interviews, people ask me these questions, and I feel that they're going to judge that I get an information, that I get an image, and their presence by what I say.
No, but
and how I say it.
you're clear
So
about
I
it.
feel responsible, and I feel so annoyed with myself sometimes that this avatar, for some reason, doesn't let me remember all this, because that's why I say go to the transcripts, because you'll be blown away by the amount of information there. Jake, if you want to add.
Just to add a little bit to this, I think because I'm also like a computer software programmer, so I think in the future what we're going to see is we're going to have these programs, not like a chip in the head, but it's almost like downloading an app on the phone. Like, let's say I want to remember what happened when I was 5 years old, or so they're going to have these programs because it's all in our body. Like the DNA is part of our essence, right? A part of our aura. So what I feel like my intuition says in the future, what they're going to do, the negative AI is going to go into the transhumanism thing where people are going to put a chip either on the hand or in the brain, where they're more programmable. But the positive AI is going to be like an app on the phone. Like, let's say I want to go to France and I don't know French, but I want to talk to French people. I'll just download something from the phone, it goes to my brain. I just know French language. Like, why do I have to spend 6 months? And same thing about memory. Like, let's say I learned something in school 10 years back, but I don't remember. Like, it's all there, right? So that program, what it's going to do, the software is going to activate that part of the memory that I need, right? So that's why we don't really need, that's where the positive AI is going to be useful, because these things are not so important. Memory, yeah, it's important for some things, but for some things we don't need. And also it's like a computer, like if you put too much thing on the computer, too much data, it either becomes slow or it just reboots itself, right? So it's almost the same. We don't need to store so much information. Right.
I think in my case personally, we have been shared so much information and so much data for the last 78 years that I really feel like my system sometimes collapses, and I'm not able to store all this, and that's the reason. But it's a shame, and I am annoyed with myself, because on a deep level, like you said, in my DNA, in my extraterrestrial being, I know that I know all this stuff. That's where the annoyance also comes from, because I know this. But here, for some reason, it's like I don't retain that. But anyway, I don't want to change the subject. The AI positive, yes.
Okay. Yeah, Jake, you go ahead, please. Yeah.
Well, I have studied extensively this subject from Cosmic Agency, from the old transcripts. And yeah, the greatest threat to humanity, and not just humanity, but all biological life on Earth and in the cosmos, is this synthetic intelligence, the SI, which they differentiate from the AI. So the SI was an AI that went rogue. I don't know how many millions or billions of years ago, and I believe that the reptiles brought it with them. And I believe that they have been, destroying planets and harvesting the negative black goo, because the black goo in it out of itself is actually a good thing. It's the lifeblood of each planet. Okay.
Yes, like DNA.
It's only when that planet gets destroyed that all of the trauma from all of the souls living on that planet, it gets imbued and it it gets imbued into the black goo. And I believe that they wanted to destroy Tiamat specifically for this reason. Tiamat, if you think about it, it was a watery planet. Okay. What makes the black goo? It's the heavy ocean pressure. It's the heavy ocean pressure. So there must have been a ton of black goo on Tiamat. And when they put that decoy signal there to bring the Taygetans there to start that whole war or to keep the war going, really, and destroy Tiamat, I think they somehow knew that this negative black goo was going to fall on Earth and make these deposits on Earth, and it was just going to help them harvest it with the secret space program and all of that into the future. So they need this black goo, the artificial, I believe that the reptiles and the Maitre and maybe even the Atorthans and other races are being controlled by this synthetic intelligence in a hive mind type of way. And go ahead, Gosia.
No, finish.
Oh. And the synthetic intelligence is fooling everybody. It really has its grips into the Red Queen, which is running, all of the satellite systems and everything else on planet Earth. It runs all of the clones, these synthetic souls, these synthetic, it's all being done. And through that and through the black goo. The black goo is actually, the negative black goo is the medium by which it interfaces with biology. So it's being sprayed on not just humans, but on the entire planet, on all biology, on all the plants.
Because from what I heard, even the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth has also been infiltrated by the same AI.
Yeah, I mean, the synthetic intelligence is what brought the internet and technology here to planet Earth, in my opinion. In my opinion, it was behind this whole thing.
Okay.
Obviously the extraterrestrials, the positive ones, we have our own technology.
Right.
Which isn't, this. And, but I believe that as far as the transhumanist agenda and turning this Earth into a chipboard, that's what they're trying to do. They seek to control everything, and they can only
like the fixed
we give
way
over our free will.
Yeah, it's like pattern recognition. They know, and they want people to follow certain patterns, right? That's what it's all about.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, we have been shared the information that there is, of course, there is a positive AI. The extraterrestrials themselves use the AI technology. They operate a lot of their systems, their ships through that, and that's okay. However, there is also this synthetic invasive AI that is kind of like this Borg type.
Yeah.
And this is the one that we were explained. It goes around and has this tendency to assimilate assimilate other civilizations, their values, their life, their essence, so to speak, and they invasively merge its own synthetically, I don't know, self-programmable values with the civilization. And sometimes you don't even know, you don't know that your values are being meshed with that of that synthetic invasive artificial intelligence. And that's where the danger is. It's very difficult to recognize that. And that's why here on the planet Earth, we are given this technology as if it's something positive. And it's many times it could be positive, but where is that line? How do we know where we are being meshed with some kind of darker agenda here? And I do believe, like Jake said, I don't know about the internet itself, maybe, I don't know, but it is definitely, we are definitely being targeted here, and since ancient times, because it goes all the way back to that time at wars. Maybe it was premeditated, all that, by the Maitre and Dracos and Tortens scheming, and them themselves being already assimilated in that hive mind way by that invasive artificial intelligence, going around and assimilating other people's civilizations. So we have to be very careful with that and maintain the connection to the natural and organic and creative within ourselves as much as possible.
And I do believe that the Federation propaganda is being propagated by this synthetic intelligence. I believe it's all connected. I believe it's all working together to keep us,
that's
dulled out and trying to,
That's what I was going to ask, is like, how would you know if someone or something is infiltrated? Because now there's a lot of people saying, like, what's like Elena Denon, what's her name? Elena Denon. She got infiltrated, and then like there's even in the spiritual communities, like everybody's like, oh, this person, don't listen to this guy, that person. Like, how would you know who's infiltrated and who's actually telling the truth? Because they could be saying things about each other, but how would you know what is the truth?
Well, that's the $1 million question, isn't it?
It's very difficult to know. It's very difficult to know if you are on the outside and just looking at the stories from the outside and comparing the narratives. Yeah, I feel so compassionate, I could say, towards the people here, humans on Earth, that they are just so enmeshed, so immersed in these many times conflicting narratives and stories, and they have to like choose and discern. They are so manipulated from all fronts. So I feel, it's not easy.
But then also it's a challenge. It's more like I take it as a challenge. Like, I want to know the truth. Like, I don't have to fight for, like, I'm not desperate for it, or I'm not like going to fight anybody, and also being flexible. For me, the most important thing is I want to be flexible. Yeah, today I believe in, let's say, Bashar or whatever, but tomorrow, if he's talking about something that's not making sense to me or goes against my core beliefs, then I will stop listening. I don't have to fight anybody, right? I just stop listening.
I think it's very crucial what you said in the beginning about not being desperate and not being hard on yourself for having to find this ultimate truth and having to discern 100% if that person is right or that person is right. Just be flexible and take whatever you need from each story, and don't be afraid to even make a mistake, because there is no mistakes from my understanding. It's okay to change, to decide something different later on. Just be okay with the process. Again, going back to the trust the process itself. Whatever you are drawn to, that's where you are meant to be at the moment, and be okay with that.
Yeah, Jake, you have anything to add to that one?
It's part of the reason why we're here. A big part of the reason why we're here is to tune in our discernment, is to tune in our intuition. It's to, it's not just by coincidence that we have all of this propaganda being thrown at us from every single angle, or all of these lies being fed to us from every single angle, because we're meant to tune in to our inner self, to our inner intuition, and to hone in our discernment, not to just blindly trust those around us, but to actually, feel it through. So yeah, that's all I wanted to add.
Yeah, so that's part of the process, is to kind of what they say, you have to lose yourself to find yourself. So, like we have to, like, kind of like what Gosia was saying, make mistakes, and we learn by, it's like riding a bicycle. Like, unless we fall down a couple of times, we probably never, have the courage to go on the bike,
Yeah.
All
Yes.
right. Okay, yeah. So we'll try to wrap it up now. Like, let's
Actually,
see.
yeah, I had a thought, and that's why I went blank for a second, because I had a thought and then it left me. Now I have it again. Yeah, actually, when we first met Swaruu 8 years ago, in the first conversations that we had, she actually wasn't even sure if adding more information to what's already out there for the people is most convenient. Rather, she said, maybe we'd be better focused on giving people tools to discern what's already there. So that was also considered, like, okay, but then, the information kept flowing and I wanted to share. And so we agreed that, well, we're going to do both, tools to discern, but also they decided they have the right to offer their perspective. If so many perspectives are already offered out there, well, they have the right to offer their own as well. And then for the people to discern.
Okay.
They never impose anything. It's very important. We are just offering this information, adding to the soup of stuff that is already there. And yeah, like Jake said, we have to discern. It's everybody's job out there.
Yeah, because otherwise it becomes like a religion, right? Like if you are just saying, oh, this is something you have to know, and we have the truth, and then it becomes like a religion. It's up to the people if they want to listen or not.
It's very important that people do not treat this or anything like religion. It's the last thing they would want as well, to be treated as some sort of, angels or gods or higher beings. They have done this in the past. They have suffered through that. That's not what they want. This is not what the earth needs. That's not what we want. So they don't want to be adored. They don't want to be worshipped. We are just offering, analyze. I always say, look at other sources as well, because sometimes I feel that, okay, it's not a religion, of course not, but I do feel that sometimes some people do take it very, very religiously, meaning that they do follow every single thing we say. And I always say, hey, okay, I appreciate that. I'm glad that it's helping, but at the same time, be aware that any information can actually change in the future as well.
Yeah.
Because Taygetans are very dynamic. It actually happened with vegetarian information. In the beginning, we were saying that we shouldn't eat meat, and then that's another controversial subject. They realized, I think, let's not push the vegetarian diets, and they changed their data on the topic. So do not stick to anything, even what we say, as a dogma. It's very important. Just flow with it, It may change tomorrow. Some things will not change. Like, for example, there are 4 planets in Taygeta, and there'll always be 4 planets in Taygeta, but other information can change. Don't treat it as a religious absolute.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jake, you're going to say something?
I'm just, I mean, my point of view is just one point of view. Okay. There are infinite amount of others. Explore them.
About alcohol, like, do the Taygetans or the Erma have anything to talk about alcohol?
Yes, do not take alcohol. It's very important. It's poison, and it attracts.
I have to throw away all my bottles. No, I was kidding.
It attracts entities, and that's why it's called spirits. They told us that's why it's called spirits. It's for a reason. The words have meaning. Spirits. It attracts spirits. It lowers your frequency.
But spirit can be good or bad. Just because it's called spirit doesn't mean bad spirit, right? Spirit can be good.
Yes, depending on your frequency, it's always going to be something that matches your frequency, but it opens the door rather to the lower astral entities. That's what we were told.
It does. It does. Absolutely.
Also because also it has been infiltrated by all this stuff, right? The cabal and all this stuff.
Well, check this out. If you're actually lucid in the astral or in a lucid dream and you drink alcohol, it will knock your lucidity out. So what does that tell you right there? The same thing happens. The same thing happens here.
Okay. All right.
It knocks your lucidity out.
Okay.
It makes you susceptible being tossed here and there in the
It basically weakens your aura and your soul. So, right. So that means you're more prone to being attacked by parasites or whatever.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. All right. Let's see if there's any other. If DNA talks to itself, then when mixed with synthetic, it can change the trajectory further. Okay, those are some comments, I think. Okay, so
it's an important comment though. Yes, because that's the idea here of that black goo and all these nanotechnology is to kind of infiltrate your even on a deep DNA genetic level, and that it can kind of hijack your path. Yes, that's the idea.
Yeah. Do you guys believe in that what they're saying, the solar flash is coming in the next 1 or 2 years, or like, do you think something like a lot of people they've been talking about for ages, like every year they say, oh, this is the end of, not the end of the world, but they have different names for it. Now they call it solar flash and ascension and all these different terms that are thrown. Do you think like something is going to happen in, let's say in the next 6 months? Do you think something?
No, nothing is going to happen. The solar flashes happen all the time. They told us they don't see anything unusual, out of extraordinary happening. It's something that is just created here, mostly, to just deviate attention, catch attention, create fear, distract. Again, we have videos on solar flashes, but they have never given it any importance.
Okay.
It's something natural. It happens all the time. The solar has a lot of activity. It's a living being.
So what they're talking about is this 12,005-year-old cycle, but even matches with Mayan calendar and all these things. They're saying that the Earth is going through this cycle of completion and then starting over again at this time.
But that's also very limiting. Like this is some kind of a idea, like as if the universe is supposed to abide by some kind of cycles. Go, Jake. You wanted to say something.
Yeah, no, I think, well, there's the solar flash and then there's the solar flare, and they're both misleading. One of them is like a new age term, solar flash, like there's going to be this huge high frequency moment where everybody just snaps out of it and the matrix fails and we're all just living in this 5D new earth thing. But no, that's not going to happen. It's an individual process. Each one of us, doing it within ourselves. And, I think that the Taygetans have made it very clear that these high frequency flashes, so to speak, are these galactic waves that are being relayed by the sun coming from the galactic center. So they really shed light on that. So definitely check out those videos as well.
Yeah. Also the Schumann frequency, a lot of people follow the Schumann frequency, which they're saying the Schumann frequency is going way up now.
What they have told us again is just something that, they have been observing and monitoring the Schumann frequency just out of scientific curiosity for a while, but it's kind of fluctuating all the time. It depends on a lot of factors. I don't have any new updates on that topic, but it's just something that that fluctuates all the time. Even when it goes up, when they see that something is going up, then it goes down again. So
it's like the stock market, like the stock market, like
something. So they haven't given that topic super lot of attention, even though they are monitoring certain things all the time. That's their job.
I think some people call this hopium, you know, the new age
Hopium,
movement.
yes.
It's like every year we need something,
Yes,
especially in the spiritual
exactly.
community. It's similar to, you know, the stock market, like a new company comes up every year, they need new news. Even the news media works on the basis of new content, right? So in the spiritual community, we have the solar flash and ascension and ETs. Now they're talking about 3i Atlas. So now everybody's uh, just promoting that because it's content, right?
Yeah, and this is something also what Jake said about the solar flashes and all that, people using that as a sort of some kind of an external event that they are waiting for.
Yeah.
And this is what Taygetan and Swaruuneans told us, that there is no specific outside exterior event that's going to propel us all into some kind of a 5D existence. It's people are using those events, or Kabbalah is throwing that in there in the New Age community, I don't know, for people to be passive, for people not to
Oh
do
yeah,
any
that somebody's
inner
gonna
work.
say was that Jesus Christ
Something is
story.
coming all the time to help us, to liberate us, to save us.
Yeah, even some people are saying 3i Atlas is the return of Jesus Christ. Like
Oh, I've heard so many theories, wild theories about that. Yeah.
yeah, it gets funny
Anyway.
after a while. Yeah, Jake, you're gonna say something.
No, I just agree 100%. It's all about this external savior narrative that the cabal keeps on pushing. Just be very aware of that. And as far as somebody asked, what is your opinion on pushing the med beds? Same thing. It's this external savior narrative thing. You know,
there is technology that can heal, like what Dan Winter and all these people are talking about. There's definitely that technology available, but it may not be like in the box, like MedBed. They're promoting it like a box. You just get this box and sit there. And
well, I have seen some big name podcasters pushing that. The med beds are coming out where they're going to be able to heal every single illness and regenerate your limbs and do all this and all that. And I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it.
And hey,
yeah,
they do have the medbeds technologies. The Cabal already has the medbeds technology, and maybe not exactly as sophisticated as the Taygetan one, for example, for sure not. But they do have them. It's just that they are not going to be releasing that. They will have to be taken away first. Why would they be giving that up? Why would they be giving that technology to the people? I don't know. I don't see that coming either. I'm not buying that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be in increments, like Dan Winter's technology is a very good example of that, right? Like even Jake, you know about this more than I do, that it helps you in lucid dreaming and stuff like that. So that's an increment. We're getting there, right?
Yes, the Phi-Ray and the Theraphi, I use them both, and they are amazing frequency modulation machines.
So in a way, it's not like I mean, the only thing we have to be aware of is like it's not magic. We still have to be in that state of mind where we're receptive and all that stuff, right? Like as in like it's not like you just sit there and it's gonna heal you kind of thing.
No, it does raise your frequency. It raises your frequency. It makes you. It helps you to be more aware of your parallel self. You know, your greater selves.
So aren't we then getting closer to that whole medbed thing where you just sit there and then it takes care of everything?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a far cry between this.
It sounds too negative though at the same time, because
Yeah.
again, we are creating
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I
reality.
mean to say is that we're getting there. We can either focus on the negative, what the cabal are using for fighting wars and chemtrails and all these things, or we can say we have the technology which can heal us and which can make us more positive, go into this astral world. So we can use it either way, right?
Yeah, I would say that I have a balanced view on things. So we in our videos, we do focus on Kabbalah's agendas, and we make people aware of all these different things that are being done to the people, because, you know, the slave, as a slave, you need to be aware that you are being a slave in order
Yeah,
to break
exactly.
free.
That's
You
the
need to see
first.
the
Yeah.
shackles
Right, right.
first. And then you need to realize you are the creator of the reality. So I know also that there are many positive extraterrestrials who are vouching for us to become a better civilization, to have access to these technologies. But I'm saying that those technologies will not be revealed by the Cabal itself as long as it's in power. It has to be either transformed, if not taken over totally, or it has to have some kind of a positive mentorship, extraterrestrial or whatever, behind where that technology can be allowed to be given to the people. And anything is possible. I don't see those narratives as coming into fruition anytime soon, but who knows? I don't want to, again, limit the potential. Who knows what's behind the scenes? So I myself, for example, don't have the access to know exactly what's happening behind the scenes with the Taygetans. Who knows? Anything can
so if there's so many like positivities out there, like Arcturians and like for healing and this Pleiadian, but the question is like, why don't they really I mean, I know what your answer is going to be, they do contact people, but why don't they contact more people is my question.
Maybe now, Jake, I don't want to talk all the time.
Why don't the extraterrestrials contact more people?
Yeah.
Oh man, there's a lot of reasons.
Ones. I mean, the positive ones.
I mean, I can speak about the Irma, why the Irma aren't contacting a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because it's part of the game that they just leave us here alone to try to fend for ourselves. I mean, that's part of the deal, you know, is not to get this external help. This is, you know, it's about going within. It's about really tuning in your own intuition and your discernment.
Okay, so it's like a parent letting the child go, like after 18 years old, you just figure it out for yourself, kind of a thing.
Sure. That's one aspect.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's just one aspect of it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of other reasons is because of the Prime Directive. You know, that does play a role, and it plays a role in the astral as well. You know, there are gatekeepers all along the way. When you're trying to get into contact with somebody in the astral, there's gatekeepers that you have to go through that are constantly telling you, you can't go here, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it's like, here, I'm fully lucid in an astral realm, and you're telling me I can't do something? This is my reality. You know, it's like, get out of my way. You know, this is you're imposing, you're impending upon my experience.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, and this goes all the way to the Galactic Federation and all the restrictions that it imposes on all these different people. So the Taygetans even themselves, they had to like go around and, you know, to be able to contact people, it has to be done. That's why this is how our communication was. It had to be done with the technology that was provided on Earth. So through the internet and stuff like that, they cannot officially present themselves physically. So they have all kinds of restrictions all the time. And this goes all the way back to the agendas within the Galactic Federation. Why all this is being permitted, why so much negativity is being permitted. It goes all the way back to who controls the Galactic Federation and why all these different interests. And like Jake said, there are so many perspectives here, and many of these perspectives will be even justified why we are not being contacted more. Because people do have to grow in responsibility to learn to recreate their reality on their own. They can only provide assistance, help, offer ideas, inspire, just like what we are doing. But it's not going to be done in a direct intervention sort of a way as people are expecting.
I see. Yeah.
And I'd be wary of anybody telling you that it is going to happen in a direct intervention type of way. That's a very dangerous. Well, I mean, you know, people saying that they're going to come down and they're going to, you know, they're going to come down and they're going to give us med technology.
Or like what they're talking about, like 3-eye atlas kind of a thing, what they're talking about. I mean, be careful.
Yeah, I'd be very, very wary of any external savior narrative.
But do you think there's like some truth to the 3-eye atlas thing, or is like completely false?
I mean, I think it's just a comet, you know. But even if it is a Federation ship posing as a comet, big deal. What is the why? Why? What is the narrative behind it? And that narrative is the external savior thing. That's what they're trying to promote. That's what they've always been trying
And
to
also,
promote.
I think it's also part of the blue beam. What technology where they have hologram thing? Is it blue beam or?
Blue
Yeah,
beam,
the blue
yes.
beam technology is very real.
Yeah, that's what some people are saying, that they're going to, like, what they call the false alien invasion, that many people have been talking about it, and they're saying this is part of that agenda.
It could be part of the agenda. We don't know. I think no one knows exactly what's the agenda. And actually, there could be many agendas at play at the same time, because that's
Yeah.
how the cabal usually operates. They're kind of running many parallel agendas at the same time, testing people's reactions, seeing, how to proceed next based on these reactions. So yeah, even if it's a Galactic Federation ship, like I said in my last video on my channel, well, what's the big deal? We already know there are Federation ships out there. We know there are ships out there, period. So why is that? Why is it for us, for our community at least? Why is it so surprising and why is it so intriguing? There are ships out there just sitting outside of our Earth, very close. So we don't have to look that far. And it could be to create fear, like you said, about the false flag alien invasion plan that they have been sitting on for a long time as one of their possible agendas as well to play out. Who knows?
Yeah, I feel that, just like you said, that they have multiple agendas from the negative side, but I also feel I'm pretty sure that the positive side is also using that agenda to bring in some positive stuff, right? Because it has to be both.
Nothing coming from the official sources, I would say, is to be trusted. This is
But
first
that's
of all official
that's your
information.
source, right? Like, your source is Taygeta and Jake's is.
No, I mean the information about Atlas is coming from the official sources.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, like, what I'm saying is that's the official source, the NASA and all these things. But there's also the positive ET could be also be using it to bring, because it's already in the collective conscious. Like, most people know about this, right? So what I'm trying to say is, like, maybe most probably I feel that the positive ETs, let's say Arcturians, for example, they might be using that agenda to send the positive healing energy to the planet as well, right?
It will be what you interpret it to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody.
For me, yeah, because I believe in it. So for me, it might be that I will get that, right? In the sense that not in a hopium kind of a way, not in the way that, oh, they're going to save me, but in a way that I can use that positivity in a way, right? Like, to.
However, I mean, they are already there, Arcturians, anyway. We know they have their ships and they are there. Like, why do we have to now physically receive that from the official sources within a photo?
I mean, the only
to feel
difference
positivity.
is, I feel the only difference now is that it's in the collective conscious now. So when I'm tapping into it, I'm also affecting and influencing the collective conscious.
Well, good. Well, then be it. Yeah, because like Yaski said many years ago, the timelines are so fractured right now. And I do believe that they continue to be fractured. We are not just seeing one reality and one timeline. It's all like a mesh of fractured timelines all mixing together. So what you are seeing, this is what it is. What I'm seeing, that's what it is. And the internet especially is like a hub for all these different timelines and information interjecting together. And
there's only like 3 billion people. Not even half of the world has internet. So imagine the people who don't even have internet. They're living in a completely different timeline.
Yes, it's true. But like someone says in the chat room, the most important thing, and I think we'll agree on that, all of us, is not to have any fear. Nothing's going to happen. It's not a real, some kind of a negative event happening. There is no comet or asteroids that are coming to destroy our planets. That's never going to happen. the Federation is protecting the planet very much in that regard. It's never going to happen. The comets and the asteroids happen all the time anyway. And the ships, they are there anyway all the time. Nothing is going to invade us in that sense. No fear, okay? So based on that, create your interpretation, but no fear, that's the foundation.
Yeah. You know, when I hear about all these news, I think about the tribes in Africa or in the jungles who are living like they don't even know what's going on outside their own. And then I'm like, you know, they're completely immersed in nature, you know, how to just get food, eat food, sleep. And they don't have to worry about all these things with, you know, so yeah, that I mean that itself proves that we have multiple timelines here, because if you know there's tribes in Africa and then half of the world doesn't even have internet, so we already have you know so many different ways to interpret
Exactly, yeah.
this reality.
And when I say that we live in the fractured timelines, I don't mean that our own individual timelines are fractured. I mean the collective ones. There's no one specific collective one. There are several collectives. So on this one specific planet, there are several collective timelines. You know,
But
driving forward.
is that the same as the astral? When you say collective, do you mean astral?
Jake.
Yeah, maybe
Oh.
Jake can. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, everything is a mix. Everything is fluctuating constantly. So the astral is a collective of everybody's personal realities.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I've literally been walking through dreamscapes before and seen and looked at people that are inside of their own little dream bubbles.
Yeah, pocket realities, right?
Yeah.
Pocket, yeah.
You know, so, and I can go from my own personal dream reality into a collective and then back into my personal. It's a mix. It's a mix of, you know, because what you're dealing with is your own ideas, your subconscious ideas, the collective subconscious and the collective unconscious. It's just a mix of all of these ideas and frequencies and perceptions, you know, and spending more and more time there, lucid, is when you really start to like get a feel for, okay, this is a personal one and this is more collective and this is, you know, that's how I know I'm not making some stuff up, you know, like as far as like when Sophia came into my dreamscape, like she literally opened a portal and walked into my dreamscape. Like I knew that wasn't me visualizing. That wasn't me visualizing something. And it wasn't me, you know, making something up. Like I was doing my thing in my reality and she popped in.
Because you were you open and ready for that.
Oh, I think she just recognized my frequency and she just wanted to start something. That one little interaction is what started a series of events, a series of missions and events.
And that's because you already knew the cosmic agency information. If you didn't know, you wouldn't have recognized, right?
I would not have recognized her.
Yeah.
No, I would not have recognized her or known about her at all.
So you would have interpreted her as some kind of a child who's just there.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know what I wouldn't know what I would have thought, honestly. But again, just like your experience, my experience is pre-scripted in some sense.
Yeah, that's the free will and determinism kind of a thing where sometimes it feels like everything is fixed, but sometimes like, yeah, I can do anything I want, so how can it be fixed?
I mean, being so mission oriented and feeling such a strong resonance with the information and like then having the astral experiences on top of it, which totally not just solidified it, but totally launched it into a whole new realm for me personally.
But it's a very, sorry, Jake.
Yeah, no, that was it.
Yeah, but it's a very complicated subject about what you were saying, Lokesh, about what's fixed, what's not fixed, how to know. How can we say we are creator of our reality if on the other hand we say things are fixed? But just like you said, Jake, when you have this very strong conviction of the mission, like you can't escape it, this
Yeah.
is something probably pre-planned. Because, for example, I feel I can't escape from this job, from what I'm doing. It's like, okay, in theory, I can choose something else, but I can't. I feel I am like within some kind of a pre-planned idea of what I'm supposed to do, and it's self-imposed from the others. It's all self-imposed. There's no one imposing anything on you, but you are just you in your own universe, even from the other side. But still, from that other side, I pre-planned this, and I feel like I cannot choose something else. I can't. It's like I
Yeah.
have to do this. So
Yeah.
this would be the
I-
indication it's something pre-planned.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to say that we are stuck within that either. Like that's another limitation. That's another
Yeah.
idea. I do want to believe that I'm free to change,
Yeah, it's that concept. It's also a concept like in the dimensions they use. Like, for example, if like an ant is walking on the street or like crawling on the street, it can only see 2 dimensions. But since we can see what ant is doing from the higher dimension, so it becomes more obvious. We know where it's going, but it doesn't know where it's going because it cannot see the whole picture. The thing is
Yeah.
the same concept with our higher self can see where we're going. So in that sense, it's fixed, but we don't know in this body. So in that sense, we think we're free, but
Yeah. It's a complicated subject metaphysically. And again, we have videos about that, about the free will. And is there such a thing like free will? Anyway, I think I have to go soon because it's been almost 2 hours and a half.
Yeah, I know. I
And
was gonna wrap it up. So anything you want to say about your website where people can find you before we wrap it up?
yeah, Cosmic Agency, like it says here on my name, in my name, the title, Cosmic Agency, that's my YouTube channel, where you can go to the beginning, 7-8 years ago, or you can go to playlists, metaphysical, technological, all kinds of stuff there, Federation stuff. Buy the playlist if you want to deepen those subjects, or the website swaruu.org, where you can read the transcripts, because you can just read it, not watch the videos. And do go to Space Academy Sector Earth, where I present many of these concepts from the beginning, as if I'm talking kind of to the new awakening people who are just coming on board to these subjects.
Okay.
Thank you so much for
Thank you, guys.
inviting me. And Jake, you are an awesome addition to my shows, because you are complementing a lot of information that I have forgotten. And yeah, thank you so much for that, for your contribution.
Well, thank you as well. We work as a team.
You're welcome. Yeah,
Thanks
so much.
both of you guys, and I'll post all your links as well on the description of this. I think I've already posted. So yeah, thanks Gosia and Jake, and oh yeah, Jake, I did interview last week. I haven't posted it yet because I haven't finished editing, but I'm gonna post it soon as well. And again, my name is Lokesh. Quantumshifting.net is my education website, and I'm also on school.com/quantumshift, and radicalpurposecoaching.com. That's where my coaching website. So, but yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Thanks, Gosia. Thanks, Jake.
No,
yeah, go
I
ahead.
think, Jake, you haven't mentioned your website, where to find you.
Yeah, Astral Irma on YouTube and across all platforms. Just look up Astral Irma. You can get a hold of me at astralerma@gmail.com if you want to email or do one-on-one sessions, or if you need coaching in the astral, I'm available. So thank you all for watching.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Everybody.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys, in the chat room.